What will never be the same again once the pandemic is over? Sitting in a doctor's office waiting room when you're sick. I feel like lots of people will wear masks to hospitals and doctor's offices from now on. I haven't sat in a waiting room since March. All my appointments have been cool. When you get here, wait in your car. We'll call you when it's your turn. The social introvert in me loves it. I can sit in my car and talk on the phone or watch Netflix without bothering anyone. Even the vets are doing this now too. Went the other day to pick up some meds for my dog Fortnite. She is terrified of fireworks. Everything happened from the car. Absolutely amazing. No one will trust you if you have the common cold or a slight cough. I have for a long time wished people who had colds would stay home from work. Maybe that will become accepted now. Edit. I understand many people have no choice in this. If it were accepted that this is necessary, perhaps paid sick leave and societal expectations of employers would change. I think sick days, or WFH if you're not feeling 100%, will be far more accepted. Edit. To clarify, I did mean office work. And yes, the US system is beyond fucked, like so many of our systems seem to be. Huge shout out to all the essential workers and those that don't have the luxury of sick time. You guys are the real MVPs. The weird pride surrounding dragging yourself to work when you're sick. How about the weird contempt/suspicion from managers when employees call in sick? No, seriously. Everyone's first response when someone calls out is how this messes with their task list for the day, or how they'll have to call someone in, or work later, and not a single duck given to the fact that they're sick. Even if it's someone who never ever calls out besides rare circumstances will get reamed behind their back by everyone. Same thing when people go home early regardless of the reason. In the minds of many there is no legitimate reason to not be at work. I haven't had so much as a head cold in 2020. Guessing the extra sanitization and general cleanliness has been helpful. I always washed my hands like normally, but maybe extra focus is a good idea forever. Not working in an office with other people spreading germs around is a big factor. I wonder if this will cause a boom in the entertainment industry and restaurants. As much as I like eating and watching movies at home, sometimes there is nothing like getting out of the house and being able to enjoy a good movie or a meal out. Though I do hope this causes movie prices to go down. $20 for a movie, and even before the pandemic hit, most movies weren't even worth that money. I think it will. But it will be temporary for 6 months or so, and then things will likely go back to normal. Probably minus a certain percentage of people who will permanently stay away for the most part. I'm thinking the same thing will happen with hotels and airlines. Theo go gang. Busters for 6 to 9 months while people get their travel bug out. But when that settles down, I'm thinking things won't go back to the level they were. Business travel especially. What's funny is that will sometimes happen to newer restaurants that open up. They get busy real quick for about 3 to 4 months. And then all of a sudden, they just lose a huge percentage of the previous people. On a personal level, I've learned about what I can and can't live with, what I need around me, and what can just drift away with the wind. And it'll make my planning to move out on my own again much easier. This includes people. I was texting everyone, making sure everyone was okay, and keeping in touch. Always been that way, even before the pandemic. One day I decided to see who would write me to ask if I was okay, and I wasn't honestly surprised. So now I have more energy to give to those who love me back, because I'm not worrying nearly as much about the rest. Commuting. I'm sure I will work from home regularly. Traffic jams will not disappear, but will be less common. Yeah, you can't put the telework cat back in the bag. Managers gently heard laughing in the distance. My trust in the government. Wait, you had trust in the government before? It's more I had trust in people to hold the government accountable. Joke's on me. Hopefully pizza delivery. No contact pizza delivery is the best thing to come out of this. No longer will I have to worry about. Enjoy your meal. Apostrophe. Thanks. You too. Apostrophe. I can't lie. I'm a delivery driver and say that every time, just to watch how awkward the person gets when they realize what they just said. Many smaller businesses that are already heavily suffering will not able to recover even after the pandemic because it has become So normal for many to just use Amazon. So please support your local businesses. I own brick and mortar shops. Worst year ever, but I'm still here. I've always have tried to support local businesses and encouraged others to do so. This year I was a hypocrite and ordered the majority of Christmas gifts online. My faith in humanity will never recover. Seriously. When I watched zombie movies I always said there is no way people would be this stupid when a character would be an idiot. Now I say wow, at least a third of the people aren't total idiots. And then I sigh, because I know that, if the zombies did come, my best course of action would be to slather myself in BBQ sauce and just get eaten, so it's over with. Read World War Z. The movie has, like, nothing to do with the book. The book was basically, if covered with zombies. When shit started in China I literally said it's so weird how it's like in WWZ. I didn't know how right I was. In the long term, once the pandemic is over I don't think a whole lot is going to change. But I do see the loss of many small businesses being permanent. There will be fewer people working in offices than before. But I don't think permanent WFH is going to catch on as much as people predict. While some people love WFH, some people hate it, or they are unable to do it effectively. And I think over time there will be some recruitment and retention issues. Those who want to WFH will migrate to companies that are full WFH, while those who want to work in an office will migrate to those jobs. Some office jobs just cannot really be done from home full time. Well they can, but I'm not sure the boss is willing to spend 100k on test equipment for each employee. Part-time work from home should be doable. Would not mind that actually. My mental health. A lot of closet alcoholics forming due to the pandemic. Tell me about it. I know I drank too much before COVID, but after the lockdown and spending 2 months in what I can only describe as hell with my mum, I'm starting to worry I'm actually becoming an addict. Our healthcare workforce. I'm afraid of a rampant exodus of nurses in particular. This pandemic kicked everyone's ass, but none more so than healthcare workers. My mom works for a hospital. The amount of people who've quit is staggering. They had a party to celebrate the ones who didn't quit. My mom and I both work in the nursing home industry. Let me tell you, both our locations are barely functioning. Having to sneeze in public. When I sneeze, it makes me want to cough, and enough coughing makes me sneeze. I got into this vicious cycle while in line at Costco just after the pandemic started. I never felt more like a criminal in my life as I did at that moment. You monster. I really hope all this sets a new precedent in terms of public sanitation. The amount of places that are like, look, we are doing full sanitation procedures to make sure you stay safe, and it's like, you weren't before. Exclamation mark. Grotty. Edit. Folks, I live in the UK. We don't say grotty over here. Stop assuming everyone you interact with on the internet is from the US. Not that I ever did it much previously, but I highly doubt I'll ever eat at a buffet again. In almost all situations I welcome this, except I will miss the Indian food buffet. Cheap Chinese buffet is legendary though. Snow days. It won't be much of a debate anymore, it will be more like yo the roads aren't good so you'll just stay home and Zoom for the day, we will be back in person tomorrow. As a teacher I have to disagree, at least at the elementary level. Students do not take home their devices every day and I know that they will not be giving devices to each student in K2 once we are back to normal because it is too expensive. Edit. A great case for why one should look at what they wrote before posting. I'll now use this as an example in my CL but as to why we check our work before turning it in. Spelling mistakes fixed. Exclamation mark. Our school district has sent home 10 to 15 packets at the beginning of the year for students to complete on snow days, so they don't have to make up the days. This was pre-covered when it began. I can see something like this being implemented on a more widespread basis now. I have plenty of friends I've lost all respect for, so that's something that's changed. Exactly what I wanted to say, but I also wanted to add that I found even more respect for the few good people in my life and I really am grateful to call them my friends. This is where I'm at now too. For months I was ruminating on my anger over how senseless and irresponsible some of my loved ones were being. Now I've shifted my energy to focusing on those who care and don't put themselves/others at risk. boundaries between work/school and home. When many businesses and schools went completely virtual, there was no longer the boundary of work/school is at work/school and home is at home. Now work/school is at home. And many of them feel as though all your time is now their time. The common attitude many people have already seen from many businesses/schools is you're at home, so you're not doing anything anyway. They contact you at inappropriate hours, assume you have all the time in the world to take on a much higher workload, and make demands they wouldn't otherwise make. Breaks/days off are also often not respected, as again, the general attitude is you're at home, so you're not doing anything anyway. School hasn't really been separated from home for a long time. Just look at all the homework they were loading kids up with daily, including elementary kids. Oh well, I only give my students 1 hour of homework a night. They take 7 classes a day. Karen, you do that, and they have like 2 hours a day for self-care/family time/socialization. And those same teachers complain about how little time they have because it's all spent grading the homework of their students. For me, grocery shopping. I haven't been inside a store in several months. It's really nice to be able to pull up at a store and have someone load groceries into the trunk. Right now it's free in my city, but I would happily pay to use this service. That has been amazing. But in the past year we've gotten some ridiculous substitutions. A lemon is not a substitute for squash, and green food coloring is not a substitute for red food coloring. Same. That's my only issue with it. We had an order where someone substituted a GL Bud Pyrex baking dish for 100 paper plates. Makes no sense. I think the plexiglass at checkouts will stay around, or there will be a rembursing of used plexiglass. If you can repurpose that. Free money basically. Depends on the quality of it. It's not exactly easy to buff back to its pre-scratched to shit state. I have a slightly different take on some of this stuff like handshakes, hugging, and casual physical contact. I think we're gonna go back to doing these things just as soon as we feel it's safe. I know some parts of the country people already are, for better or worse, but it's so important for human interaction. I just think we're going to actually appreciate how important these things are. Just being close to someone and looking them in the eye after shaking their hand or patting them on the back is critical to making a personal connection. Yeah, right, no, masks don't cover your eyes, but not being able to see half of someone's face is terrible when it comes to basic human interaction. In Spanish, and we give to kisses here to almost everyone you meet, even if you don't know them. When you meet and when you leave. This is gone now, and I hope it stays the same. Being able to order drinks through an app while you're at a bar. Food at restaurants too. With any luck, I've only gone to like 2, maybe 3 restaurants during the pandemic, and each one has a quarter code menu and it's amazing. Especially being able to zoom in to read things. I talked to a server about how great it was, and she expressed it's also nice not having to clean the menus, and admitted the menus only got cleaned like twice a month. Let's wear masks in public whenever we might be feeling under the weather. I always thought that a very sensible and considerate gesture to make when I saw it being done in other parts of the world. Asian countries have been doing this for ages. We just all acted like we were somehow better. Let's be real, guys. When the pandemic is over and it's safe to go back to normal, society will go back to pre-COVID times for the most part. Crowded bars and clubs, concerts, handshakes, no more masks, etc. Though I think it will be gradual and slow within the first few years of the end. I guarantee there will be covered as over parties to compensate for the lack of parties. It's kind of stupid to think people will continue to social distance when it's over. I mean, people have a hard time doing it now. However, I think things like WFH will be a lot more common. There's gonna be 2 types of people, those who can joke about COVID and those who get minor PTSD from it. Which one do you think you are gonna be? Cause your comment changes depending on the answer. Adult kids living with their family. I think it'll be more widely accepted in the Western world. I think it's pretty normal in Europe, or some parts at least. This is mostly an issue in the US. Yeah, I only ever really see Americans being all you're out of the house by 18 over 21. The blissful ignorance of sticking my fingers in a random bowling ball. then proceeding to eat food without a care in the world. The thought of this made me literally gag. I can't believe I used to do that. Hopefully waiting in line at the grocery store, breathing down my neck, will not get you out of the store faster. Having to go back into an office when working from home produced the same results. I dread the day they make us go back. Saved a huge amount of money not having to commute every day, plus spending all day with my dogs. Now you have to work from home. For the dogs. A lot about my life has come, gone and changed in the past year and during the pandemic. All while I've been sitting here just clavering away by me lonesome. I don't think I'll ever quite see the world the same again, but I guess that's just living, right? Been watching myself get old. My body shape has changed. Since I'm not running back and forth into the city 5x/week. Exercising but not regularly. Not wearing makeup. Stressed over the state of the world. Worried about work. I'm aging faster. Blee. Lucky you. I have been thinking about packing my bag and walking out back towards the woods lately. Maybe keeping a journal or something. I've had a brutal decade of loss and lament, and arriving where I'm at to find that everyone's out to take what's yours and hold your shame over your head is enough to illuminate that there really isn't anything out here for someone like me. Yet another solacing revelation that there was never really anything waiting on me to show up for. That is casinos. I thought they were skanky and dirty before COVID, but still fun as hell. Now standing at a craps table shoulder to shoulder breathing 20 dudes air and sharing chips with dozens of people for hours sounds incongruous. Casinos are still busy now. You're going to see a lot of businesses go fully remote permanently. So a lot of people are going to be moving out of cities into the suburbs. So they are going to start booming and turning into small cities. I don't think going 100% remote work is going to be viable or even desirable for most businesses, even if it's technically possible for them to do so. I do agree many shouldn't and won't go back to full-time 9-to-5 office hours. However, for many businesses, maintaining and operating out of a physical office adds value and reinforces the sense of legitimacy and success in the eyes of potential clients. I think 2 to 3 days in the office, 2 to 3 at home is going to be the more realistic outcome for most companies. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.